So, we are here to talk about... I'm joking. No, so guys, I am a bit jet lagged, so I will involve the crowd in the questions and the fireside. But the very first question, which is easy, is introduce yourself and what you do, and actually also what you have done so far.
That's a big question.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Mirena. I'm head of ecosystem at Chainflips. Chainflips? Whoa. Chainflips. Rebrand. I'm head of ecosystem at Chainflip. We're cross-chain native DEX. Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum under one hood. What I've done before, I was born. I had delicious tacos.
Cool.
And yeah, my background is TradFi, and then I was...
And then you decided to put BTC and Bitcoin and Ethereum together.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea. It works.
Yeah.
PMF.
Ah. You?
Me? I'm James. Hi, everyone. I'm the head of marketing at Risk Labs. Risk Labs is the foundation that oversees both UMA protocol and Across protocol. Unify Ethereum, everyone. Before this, I was everywhere. I was a VP of marketing at Rarible, NFT Marketplace. I've been in this space since 2020.
I love Rarible. I didn't know you were.
Yeah, that's a past life. That feels like 10 years ago, but it was really not that long ago.
2 months ago.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, just happy to be here.
Cool. Okay, so I also introduce myself. I'm Maria. I'm the moderator here. I work for Hype marketing agency, and before that, I used to work for DeFi. So Aave, Maker, Balancer, a lot of DeFi stuff. And now I'm a happy marketer. So we are here to actually discuss about marketing cross-chain. What does it mean, marketing cross-chain? How many chains are there? How do we how do we sell our services? Please.
I was going to say, when you say how many chains are there, it reminds me of the question where you see like the clear bowl at your dentist's office, and they're like, guess how many marbles are in this and you can win. It's like, guess how many? I don't know, because there's probably 15 that launched yesterday.
Yeah.
And how do you stay on top of it?
I would take in one ecosystem. So we have around 80 L2s, around 80 side chains which are building on Bitcoin, and then we have a handful of L1s within EVM and AltVM ecosystem and a couple UTXOs.
Hello. So you took the question very seriously. You have the numbers.
I'm dreaming about all the L2s. There are also rumors about L3s.
Oh my gosh. And the L1.5, I heard of one today. They define themselves as L1.5.
No.
Yeah.
Is that new?
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
What is 0.5 though?
It's like a middle ground between L1 and L2. It's like, I don't know. I didn't listen very well. I was just like, so. But I didn't like the positioning, so I stopped listening. What does L1.2 means, But I want to learn more of what you do, because it's interesting. You put together the two enemies.
Which is actually very interesting in terms of the way you position oneself.
Yeah.
And the need was very easy. There was not a lot of solutions where you can transfer Bitcoin to Solana or Ethereum without needing wrapping assets. When you hear wrapped asset, it does create bad memories in people's mind. And also if you work with protocols such as aggregators or wallets, they have inbuilt solution for swapping, and they also look to rely on decentralized solutions. So this is where the PMF actually sits. You just provide decentralized layers for users and third parties to allow transfer value across heterogeneous networks.
Oh my God.
You have bad luck. We have a microphone killer. Maybe. No, it's
me. I was playing with the bottle. Okay, that's. Can I ask you to repeat it? Because we are here at a marketing event, so we need. My mantra is always explain to your granny. Because our main challenge as marketers of this space is to educate, in my opinion, in order to onboard people, to be very very easy to understand. So now I want you to repeat it as you were talking, no, maybe not the grandma, but as you were talking to my mom.
All right. So the way
The name is Anna. My mom.
Hi Anna, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. So explain me what you do.
Oh, so I work in technology, and you know how do you have email?
Of course.
So your email is probably gmail.com.
Exactly.
And do you remember quite a while ago, maybe like the grandma, remember she has a hotmail.com?
Yeah.
So usually if you send a message to grandma on hotmail.com and you input the wrong, let's say, the wrong the wrong address. So if you want to send it to grandma at hotmail.com, but you put gmail.com, the message would never arrive. But with our solution, you can send messages to grandma if she's on Hotmail or if she's on Gmail, and it would work.
Ah.
So you can send messages to whoever without worrying about the different
receiver,
different emails. Yeah.
Ah, that's amazing. Yeah, but now we're talking about emails. You had to use Web 2 to explain. Now you need to put the Web 3, like the crypto stuff inside. How do you do it?
You're on the hot seat.
I'm into it.
Yeah,
Let's do it. Which level are we talking about it now?
Sorry?
Which level are we talking about it now? So the idea is the message is clear.
Yeah?
And it should be neutral.
Okay.
Send value across different networks.
Okay. Yeah. You see? Try. Try
I have to
with
follow
your
that?
product.
I'm supposed to follow.
Now it's my dad. So it's easier because my dad is an engineer. Giovanni.
Okay,
Please.
that's good. I think before explaining the product, I think understanding the pain point is a really important part, and it's a critical way to bring a narrative to your audience.
Yeah.
So a really good example is when you think about blockchain technology. How many of you in the audience have only ever used a single chain? Yeah, no one, right? Like we've all dabbled. A new chain launches, we maybe throw a little over there. We're hoping for some airdrop kickbacks, all these things, right? We're experiencing, I think, in this season of kind of blockchain technology, a really difficult hurdle of fragmentation. Every time you want to do something on another chain, it requires you, the user, to accurately bridge those funds to that new chain in a way that doesn't lock up your assets, lose your assets. We've all, well, at least myself, I won't speak for all of you, we've all done the missteps where you accidentally send it to the wrong, you send an asset to a wallet that doesn't support that, or you aren't fully immersed and you don't understand that you need to bridge in order to access that. So you're kind of stuck and you're researching, you're Googling, you're searching, you're trying to understand and learn it. What we have is this major fragmentation issue. So it's not just L1 ETH, it's L1 ETH and 1,000 L2s. And so when we need to interact cross-chain, there's so many steps that we're requiring the user to do.
And I think this is the point, because we have a UX problem, in general. And this, like the fragmentation, is absolutely one of the core problems of the UX that we are struggling with for years, guys. Because I mean, we were discussing about what do you think we will be seeing in 5 years question before, which is a question which is a bit boring to me because I hear this question in every pan. But 5 years ago, this question was asked to me, and I see that we have improved, but not really. Like, in my opinion, we are still like lacking this like user-facing improvements, you know, because we are building and developing super like good stuff, but the liquidity is always the same because we are not like, in my opinion, very much focused on building stuff like your projects. But we are more focused on still on building more like even like more complex stuff for people that are already in the space.
The way I describe, you use the parent example. Like,
Yeah.
I can't onboard my dad.
No.
And it's not because he's not. He's actually quite computer savvy. He was an early adopter to the internet. I remember going to Best Buy and buying our first desktop as a family. Like, but there are too many hurdles, too many steps for him to be in the blockchain.
Yeah.
So even just something as simple as I want to use my ETH to buy an NFT on Base. Like, there's so many steps to get to that point where you can actually buy the NFT.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm a strong believer and ambassador of decentralization. But when I need to onboard someone, guys, I go to Coinbase or Binance. Like, that's it. I mean, because it's bad, but it's the easiest like that you can do. It's less complex than using decentralized stuff. Yeah. What do you think?
I think we're talking about the wrong problem here. We're trying to shovel down NFTs down our parents' throat and using it as an example for multiple years, but nobody ever uses an example. I don't think a lot of people actually, been and travel to places where the use cases exist right now. So they're not talking about if you start a small business, which we already touched on the panel. Like, people find a way to get paid, and this is the use case for crypto.
Yeah.
And you don't need to. I mean, it's just an information about it's been available. You don't need to tell them that it's crypto. And existentially, I more and more think we right now try to solve problems which don't necessarily need to be solved. We just controversially need more infrastructure than works, and that those problems would go away by themselves. I don't think there are use cases right now outside of DeFi, and with DeFi you really need to have a good product and product marketing.
Yeah.
And there's not enough consumer use case to even worry about how to market it.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. But I wanted to ask you this. So we are here again as a marketing event. So if you were a marketer for a layer 2, as she mentioned, there are 80 layer 2 just for Bitcoin. No.
From L2 bits, maybe more.
Maybe more.
I mean,
so what would be your suggestion to market it? Like, why should people care about the 81st layer 2? In the sense, how can you expect people to use it instead of,
There's sort of two ways to answer that. The first way is how people have been marketing their new chains and the layer 2s.
With airdrop.
It's artificial kind of demand by creating airdrop campaigns.
Yeah.
And so we have this like major influx of user acquisition, which is a vanity metric at best, but as soon as that airdrop happens, what happens
retention
after? Yeah,
is
like
gone.
retention is actually not even a thought.
No.
And so I think that's how oftentimes folks are thinking about their go-to-market strategy for an L2. I think The other way around is to look at the way that your L2 adds value to the community.
So why do you exist?
Exactly. Why did you decide to create another L2 in a season of development where there's so many? Why are you making another one?
Because
and if you
VC going to give you money.
Because, sorry?
Because VC going to give you money.
And that's just not a compelling enough reason for longevity.
No, it's not enough.
There's no sustainability with that.
What do you mean? Why else do they exist?
No, that's the answer. But why, like, my question is why you are introducing another L2 with this purpose, just this purpose? It's not like, why?
I think originally L2s coming into the space solved a major problem.
Yes, the gas fee, of course.
Exactly.
But
scalability was a major hurdle.
But
now,
two. I mean, I remember the good times where there was like just like optimism and arbitrum, and we were all happy, Polygon. Yeah. But now, I mean, I don't know.
You go.
Thank you. I don't know. It's I think the way there is a huge flaw about this mental model about even how we market who the target audience is, and then there's always this direct relationship between, if we talk about infrastructure, between different blockchains and their communities, and some of them has done fantastic job, but for some reason there is a notion there is a blockchain and the user, and we're missing a huge layer of applications that are being built, and I think, and maybe I haven't seen all of it, and there is a lot of user, like B2C relationship, but the reality is we don't talk enough about is actually B2B marketing as well. There is, I think a lot of it is going into community management and developer relations, but each and every part of it is actually B2B marketing.
What do you mean by B? Who is B in this case, in a layer 2 case?
Applications which build upon it, and then the users come to those applications rather than they would care about chain.
Okay, so basically you are, but it's not the same as devs building on top of layer 2. You mean applications already existing that should be deployed on the...
The way I think my thinking is there's a lot of missing parts when we talk about the users on blockchain, because they're not users on blockchain, they're consumer a product which exists
so you mean
on blockchain, and we need to market first to somebody who will create that product on your specific blockchain, and it should be attracted for developers and builders.
I agree.
And then, depending on the incentive systems, it's either going to be shared to attract the users or not. And then there are also multiple players, because community is only one thing. You also need, from DeFi perspective, for example, you need to have liquidity.
Yeah.
And there's another way to market and communicate with it to keep it sustainable outside of very short-term incentives.
Yeah, usually I see, for example, in some of our clients, they make these mistakes of like targeting first users before even they have the applications. Now they are a bit moving forward, and they are targeting devs before to build on top of the, on the but actually your point is even better, because you are telling, let's target the applications that are already existing and have already users that can deploy like on your chain and bring their users. This is smart. Yeah. No one is doing it, actually, I think.
I have few in mind, but
yeah, I mean,
not many.
Not many.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think there's too many folks who are building in the space who don't have the end user in mind.
Yeah. And the steps you need to you need to do to get these end users, because why should an end user just care about your chain after the airdrop, if not for an airdrop,
It's the example. We've all been taking a lot of Ubers. We're in Denver. Everything is spread out. When you call your Uber, you don't really care what web server Uber is using to connect you to that car. You don't care how you just want to know the car shows up and it will take you where you go, and maybe you can leave a tip. Like that level of kind of abstraction, like all of those steps that happen behind the scenes, the user doesn't need to know and should not know. And what we are in is we're in the infancy stage of abstracting away the infrastructure. I think the end goal, and I'm saying this as I represent Across, which is a cross-chain bridge, I don't think end users should have to know or ever think about bridging. The word interoperability, they should never have to even speak that word. It should just be click, outcome, and it works.
Yeah, it's like back to my mom's example. She doesn't she just uses Google. She doesn't need to care of how it works, and she just wants to look for what she's looking for without the problem that a lot of us and we are so proud of the technology behind and the what we developed that we tend to show it too much to the user, in my opinion, versus showing them what they get. Why should you care about my project versus, and it's not just because I'm building an amazing thing and I show you what. No, and this is your point and your point too.
And it was very interesting because the fun part about being cross-chain, because you see how different the culture and communication is in every chain, and there was, especially when we've introduced Solana, it was a big conversation about how you're going to send the message that now you can send, connect Bitcoin and Solana, and those are completely opposite communities.
Yeah, you launch a meme coin. This is the strategy on Solana.
And you're basically connecting the OGs who's been forever.
With the newbies of Solana kids.
With the kids. And then we did have a very long discussion about it because the first idea, the problem was that, but then if we connect every new network, we're going to change the messaging of ourselves. And the agreement was that in terms of visual communication and with respect with certain signaling, you can always reflect on that culture and signal that you're there. But what became a long-term vision for how building, we are user-facing, but we're very kind of boring infra vanilla thing. Yeah. And we just went a very boring vanilla way. Clear messaging, cross-chain DEX, and product marketing.
Yeah.
More search optimizations, try to see for users where they traditionally are, and do it step by step.
Yeah.
I think we're a little bit pessimistic because we're looking at all of the fragmentation and all of the issues. But there are teams like Chainflip, like Across, and so many others who they're really working hard to solve these problems for the end user. One of the pinnacle things that we've been working toward is waiting 20 seconds for your cross-chain transfer to go through is just too long. And that 20 seconds as you're watching and waiting, and it's your heart is racing. It's the amount of anxiety that comes with that. If you were to say to an end user in Web 2, when you click buy on Amazon, you're just going to wait for 20 seconds and watch this wheel spin, that standard is not going to work.
No.
And I think we're not building things fast enough yet. We're working toward it, and Across, I love this. It's a stat we can boast about. From L2 to L2, most transactions are being filled for the end user in under 5 seconds. We need that to be faster, though. It needs to be under 2 seconds, or even to the 200 millisecond mark, where it's just instant.
We need to be, also because Amazon is not the best example, because here a lot of money is involved.
Yeah.
And the anxiety, on Amazon, I just buy my mate and some books, Here is something else. So I agree, we need to focus more on reducing the clicks and reducing the time.
Yeah.
And again, it's UX.
We all know what that feels like in TradFi. If you're doing a wire transfer and you're waiting days and days and days for that finally to land, those days are pretty anxiety-ridden, and we shouldn't have that. And teams like Arbitrum have done a really good job of improving that. We've gone from 7-day to I think it's down to 15-minute, like the fast withdrawals that they've rolled out, and many teams are working toward that, but we've got so much more to do.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I think the time is over, and
Is it really?
Wait, for real?
I don't know.
I mean, it's how much time do we have? Someone who is here? We
I don't
just
know.
keep...
Justin left, so we can take.
Yeah,
We can just hang out.
I know we can sleep here.
What if we? I don't know
Do
if
we have
anyone.
a guest speaker?
I want some questions from the audience. Guys, please come up with a question. You,
You're gonna make Karen ask a question.
come.
You don't
Please,
have to, Karen.
An open mic. No, you have to. Take a question.
Yeah, so my question is, are there going to be winners and losers in the interoperability kind of solution to things between ecosystems? Curious to hear your thoughts. It's a pretty broad question.
Thank you, amazing question.
Do you want to go first?
I don't mind.
Sure.
I think it's very. I think there will be. The answer is honestly yes. I'm not right now. It's very unclear what are going to be the defining factors, and how we're actually going to calibrate it. So is it going to be a defining winner per ecosystem, such as EVM versus alt-VM, for example, or is it going to be an overarching solution? I think because of my TradFi background, I just see with how market develop, we have not seen the consolidation. So when I say winners, I'd say those who win the consolidation and buy more. You've seen LeFi buying Catalyst. As you know, there's always different reasons why the companies would do that. But I definitely think right now we have a lot of very inefficient solutions where we have the situation where it's going to be a race to the bottom by a lot of different, especially minor interop solutions. And that also weakens their competitiveness because instead of building strong products, they're going to be just try to reduce the costs. And that will squeeze out the complete losers. The good ones going to be acquired. And we definitely have consolidation, which I personally am a bit alerted because I don't think we're mature enough to be, especially, and with interoperability, I especially see this tendency.
Yeah.
So I'm actually a little bit concerned about it.
I agree fully. I'll answer it in a different way just so the content is a little different. But I think there are two winners and one loser. The first winner, it's the teams who are, instead of looking at the pie that's in front of us, which is very small, very tiny. If you've been in an Uber, again, I keep using Uber, many times these folks are asking, oh, you're at that crypto conference. Isn't that just a scam? Like most people don't know what we're doing. They don't have any context and they think it's a scam. But the beauty of all of the work that we're doing is that the first kind of group of winners are the folks who say, let's not look at the tiny pie, let's do everything we can to grow the pie.
Yeah.
It's not us competing against Chainflip or any other, it's we're all working toward the same end goal of mass adoption and actually disrupting the old financial system and doing something different that puts ownership back in the hands of the people. So the first winner is the teams who actually have that mindset to say, let's grow the pie together. The loser is the teams that are really focused on trying to just take as much of the pie as possible. And there are a lot of teams like that.
Unfortunately.
Like Across is doing a lot of work with the Ethereum Foundation, and we're on this mission of unifying Ethereum, making Ethereum feel like one chain again instead of all this fragmentation. There are some who are very resistant to that work that's being done, and it really comes from this like scarcity mindset that they're bringing to the table where they say, no, I want my name on this. It's my solution. It's my product that is going to win. And I think the Ethereum Foundation is actually doing all the FUD that has been spreading about them. Like they're actually doing a lot of really good work to say it's not one product or one team. It's every team working together. And those who resist that, they're the real losers. I think the second winner though, it's the end user. They're going to win. if we continue working toward true interoperability, if we continue to really push forward with cross-chain interoperability, wallet abstraction, the end user is the winner, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, and also this is what we should all have in mind when we do stuff. DeFi is the same. Like, I mean, now I'm talking about DeFi because I've been in the space, but this is the same. Like, there are projects who compete. The mindset is wrong because they are now competing on the same users and so the same liquidity all over and over again. And instead of like trying, as it was in the very beginning when there was this utopia of bringing the financial system to everyone, it's no more like that now. Now it's like let's get rich people richer. Like these guys already here and building products for and competing against each other, and this is the same with chains a bit, you know. And this is not what we are doing here. In my opinion, right now we can't even talk about competitors because we are still too small, you know.
Too early.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we should go all in the same direction as much as possible, of course. So I agree completely.
It's a very short-term mindset to
Yeah.
think that we're in a competitive space right now. We're way too early for that. Eventually we will get there, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, and yeah.
I mean, just to talk about healthy competition, you also need to have healthy market rails to build out a company with a very clear development path, such as from early stage to IPO. This market simply doesn't exist anymore to begin with. Another thing is, which some of you might have heard me talking about, is entitlement. Our industry after DeFi summer, people got such a strong sense of entitlement, and for some reason, out of any ideas of cypherpunk and just utility and free money transfers and being independent on banking system, the value is no, but you can do whatever, but you're going to get rich in like 3
exactly.
years.
Yes. Yeah, and this is wrong.
And therefore, I think it all goes down to the founders who inherently lose in this long-term perspective because there's no incentives for them to keep it or no long-term vision to grow the product. Because after TGE, there's not many places to grow to.
Yeah, exactly. We stop. So at the agency we see it a lot because they hired us for TGE or for like something that is short term. So we focus a lot on just on this first part of the funnel. But then what? Like, why should people stay after, you know, like the awareness phase or the onboarding phase? And I honestly don't think that this is even should be called onboarding, because to me a user is onboarded when he uses the product for some time, you know, and he becomes used to the product. It's not when he just received the token interact with the chain or whatever to get something back and then goodbye, you know. And it's hard because all of the projects are focused on spending a lot of money on marketing just for the first part of the fund.
And they're also marketed to it's not that the audience is wrong, the short-term audience is correct, but you were in Aave before, right?
Yeah.
And I think when it was already Lens, when they acquired Family, and then just went very, very, very traditional advertising where there are people involved.
Yeah.
And you kind of like create this idea of, I guess, community,
I loved
friendship.
it.
And it was something so basic, not basic, it was actually great, but
No.
it was so fresh.
Yes.
When you're like, okay, because then people see, oh, what is this interesting application?
Yeah, it's the culture. You need to create the culture. If you think about it, honestly, like the best marketing that you can still make now for a crypto project is based on like culture and create the right community with the right culture. And look at Berachain, guys. They didn't do anything for the launch. They had just this huge community and FOMO and hype, and you know, and they did what they did without spending any money, basically, because there was a culture. And then I mean, you can be or me, I can be or not be a fan of Bera, but they did a good launch, you know. And I think that the culture is still the point. And family, Ave, Avara, whatever, they created a great culture around all of their projects, Lens, family, the wallet. And yeah, and I see like the successful projects are creating the community, the culture.
And I think also with Hype and Safari, it felt like despite the sort of crypto Twitter aspect of it, I think what the message was there, let's go back to the drawing board and remind ourselves what marketing actually is, and start with the user. And let's go back to the basic. Let's open Kotler's book, and let's remind it, and also be more on the B2B2C sector.
Yeah.
What we done, we had to go back to the drawing board and reminding ourselves who our other, who are the Bs, who are our partners, and how we also send the message what we're solving for them. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we still need to apply here the rules that we studied at university. These are like. The scheme is the same. Of course, here there are a lot of different rules. There are a lot of challenges, like the market is floating, so the mood, the target is keeping changing their mind, etc. So for us, the job is hard, but like the theory is who are you building value for, and what problem are you solving? That's it. And you need to answer these questions.
We, as marketers, are living with the same symptom of the short-term mindset that the entire space has. People come because they're told you can get rich quick, and those folks often end up becoming exit liquidity, and then they leave the space and they won't ever come back. We're doing the same thing in marketing. We're trying to get followers quick. We're trying to pump metrics quick. We're doing all these really like awful shortcuts to kind of hack the marketing game. But it's a shortcut, and it is not sustainable, and ultimately it hurts your project.
Yeah, I agree, and also hurts yourself, because I imagine, so I am a marketer, okay, and you too. Not
I'm
really.
ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. but imagine if you spend. So recently, I spent more time than in the past years on Twitter, and to improve my metrics on Twitter, to be all over the place on crypto tweet. And so I spent less time to think about or educate about the projects that I work for. So you're like, to shit post and reply to people. That's what I'm doing. Before I was spending 15% of my time. Now it's a good 50%, 40%. But it's a lot, and you remove the time from something else. So you're right. Like, we are all prisoners of this. And then you go out from crypto Twitter, and who are you? Like, what the fuck? Like, sometimes I think about it. Like, I'm like, these people maybe as like.
No one knows you.
Yeah, like, and I would rather spend more time with, to talk with our clients or to think about some new ideas rather than stay always on crypto Twitter, because now it's the yap season,
It's to go back to like fundamentals, like you were talking about. Jeff Bezos talks a lot about brand. Your brand is not what you say it is, it's what other people say it is when you're not in the room.
It's the reputation.
And so if the people who are talking about your brand are saying you're a scam, you just launched and we're going to dump your token, is that actually a true reflection of you, or is it what you say you are? I don't know. I think we're in this interesting industry where we have really awful expectations from users, but really they're just farmers. They're not actually users. And so we're stuck in this kind of contention of, we watch everyone else use the shortcuts, get 20, 30, 40, 50,000 followers right out of the gate, and then more, and it looks like success. But those teams won't be around long term. And I think that's the short-term mindset that's going to end up becoming the Achilles heel for this entire space.
Yeah, and for us, the agency, this is awful because the clients ask us this.
They want the hack.
Yeah,
they want the hack.
and they churn if we don't provide them this, like this vanity matrix. This, even if we say, guys, we think that here you should align a bit better the product strategy with the marketing strategy. No, I don't care. I just need to be listed on this exchange. So I want to. So if you don't do it, I will go. You know, short-term results, shortcuts, and so we are ruining our. But we need to stay focused and like please the clients because we need to survive. But in the same time, also as trying to educate back again projects and clients to like this, the second and third part of the funnel. It's not easy. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think about the other example. Okay, so then in terms of like long-termism, how would you guys, since you're more marketing, I like marketeers, that's kind of my...
Marketers.
Yeah, marketeers, like three musketeers, but marketeers.
I like that. That's good.
How about the Hyperliquid example? I think it's different from Chain because it was the use case and people love it.
Yeah.
So how would you evaluate? Because I would say midterm at this point, and even they've survived through a lot of questions about the security and centralization and their validators. So what do you think they've done differently?
Do you want to go ahead?
It's similar to, I think, what Berachain has done, what Monad has done. It's a hyper-focus on the community.
But in my opinion, what they did differently was the transparency of, like, all the airdrop thing was done way better than you know. It's straightforward, very transparent, very, you know, like, and I think, and also, as you said, the product was then, because it's not true that every airdrop is useless. Some friends of mine, they started with airdrop, and then because of airdrops, and then they got interested into the present product, Celestia stuff, etc. So they became a user through airdrop. So if you do it correctly, it's a strong weapon. So I think airdrop, Hyperliquid stuff was done very well because they really prized very like straight and transparently their users.
And it was also like arguably one of the few examples I can think of where it came from product which was actually very good.
They didn't start with the airdrop, they started with PMF.
Yeah.
And then they did the airdrop. And so those users are sticky because they were already sticky.
And then, well, let's see how the chain going to come along.
Yeah, right.
I'm hyped.
Likewise.
Okay, on
Nice.
this amazing joke, I think the time is over.
I think we're at time, yeah.
We talked a lot. It was
It's
amazing,
good.
guys.
Thanks for
Okay,
hosting
guys.
us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We should get a photo.